Okay, now let us see the prefix sum technique along with its application. So, in a very simple manner, prefix sum is nothing but iterating over the array from left to right and filling the another array, which is a prefix sum array, in a particular manner using a particular operation. So, let us try to understand it with an example. And there are also various applications to this prefix sum techniques such as prefix max and prefix min. We'll see them as we go along, but let us start with this prefix sum first. So let us try to understand it with an example and see it methodically. So for example, let us say that we have this array, right, that I have wrote down. So we have this array 1 2 3 4 5, and we want to calculate a prefix sum of this array. So let us say that this is ARR and this is some array prefix sum that we want to calculate using this ARR. So now how essentially we fill each entry. So basically in this prefix sum technique, we'll fill out this array prefix sum which is of same size. So if this array is of size n, then prefix sum array will again be of size n, and we'll fill each and every entry within this array prefix sum which is of size n using the following algorithm. So what we'll do is we'll copy ARR of 0, this element, in prefix sum of 0 here. For the remaining elements, what we'll do is we'll fill this entry as prefix sum of I minus 1 plus ARR of I. So how we'll fill this entry? We'll see the previous element in the prefix sum array, which is 1 here, add it with 2, which is the current element of the ARR which is the current element of the array ARR, and add those two and we'll place here. So the second element will be 3. Similarly, the third element will be prefix sum of I minus 1, which is 3, plus ARR of I, which is again 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. We'll fill it as 6. Similarly, this one will be 6 plus 4, which is 10, and this will be 5 plus 10, which is 15. So essentially, if you see, what we are doing is that at each stage we have ARR of 0 up to sum of ARR of 0 up to ARR of I, where I is the index of the element in the prefix sum array. So if you see, this is sum of ARR of 0 to ARR of n, because I is equals to actually n minus 1. So I is equals to n minus 1, 0 to n minus 1. So it is sum of all the elements from 0 to 4, which is all of them actually. Similarly, this ARR of prefix sum of 3, which is this element, is sum of all the elements from ARR of 0 to ARR of 3, these set of elements, right? So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. So essentially, simplifying it, it can be written like this: prefix sum of I equals to ARR of 0 plus ARR of 1 up to ARR of I. So this is a very simple way in which we can calculate the prefix sum array. So highly simple, right? We have an array. We will fill the prefix sum array, which is again an array of size n, using this formula. Now similarly, you can replace this plus operation with max operation or min operation, and you will get the prefix min. So let us quickly see the example for prefix min as well. So I have one example written down here. So let us take this array, right? 5 6 3 8 2 1. So let us go here, back again. 5 6 3 8 2 1, right? Now again we want to calculate prefix max here. So this is ARR. We are interested in calculating prefix max. So how will we be calculating it? So the size of the prefix max array will be same as the size of the array ARR, which is here it's size 6. Similarly, here it will be of size 6. First element will be copied directly here. From next element onwards, what we'll do is we'll calculate we'll calculate the max of this element and this element, which is 6. Again this element and this element, which is 6 again. This element and this element, which is 8. Similarly this element and this element, which is 8 again, and similarly 8 here. So I hope you are getting the gist of it. So multiple ways in which we can do prefix computation. One is prefix mean, prefix max, prefix sum, and there are a lot more. So I hope this overall concept is clear. Now let us try to understand or try to apply the things that we have learned so far. So let us look into a problem or a question using which we can apply this prefix max, right, that we have learned right away. So let us look at the problem statement now. So the problem statement is highly simple. There are n friends, numbered from 1 to n, and all of them are sitting in the straight line, and ith set is taken by the friend number ai. So each friend is having some index I, and they have also some number which is ai, and what they have said is that there is this Christmas event which is happening, and each friend decides to distribute the candy amongst each other, provided that there is some constraint that they have added in the way in which they can distribute the candy. So for each I varying from going from 1 to n, the friend at the ith set will give one candy to the friend at the jth set if the following constraints are followed. That is, first constraint is that j should be greater than I, strictly greater than I, and a of j should be strictly less than a of I, and we need to find the number of people who will receive at least one candy. So let us try to understand this problem in a simpler manner. So let me go back to the whiteboard. So the problem statement states here is that we have n friends, which can be represented as array. So let's say this is friend number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each of this friend has also some unique number, which is let's say 8, 7, 4, again let's say 5, 2 and 1. Let's say now there are two constraints here. A friend which is sitting at position, let's say I, let us say this position, can gift candy to some another friend, provided that these two conditions are met. One is j should be greater than I. Let me recheck that condition. Yeah, j should be greater than I, and a of j should be less than a of I. So a of j should be less than a of I. So let me go back to the number. So these are the two conditions. One is j should be greater than I, and a of j should be less than a of I. So representing this pictorially, what it means is that, for example, this is the ith friend, and it want to give some candy to its neighboring friends. Then what it can do is that it should have, it's his friend or her friend should have j greater than I. So this friend, this ith friend, can only distribute candies to this one and this one, because here for the friend with I number 4, with I4 and I5 have the j value greater than them. So for example, so this is third, this friend is third in the sequence, right? So this friend can only distribute the candy to friend number 4 and friend number 5. So that is how the distribution will happen. So that's the condition 1, and the condition 2 is that a of j should be greater than a of I. A of j should be less than a of I, not greater. A of j should be less than a of I. So this condition says that this friend, jth friend, right? So let me put it in a better manner in different array here. So we are just interested in these three friends, right? 3, 4 and 5. So considering that this is the ith one and this is the jth one, right? So here the j is greater than I, right? Because if you consider these as the jth friend and these as the ith friend, then 5 is greater than 3. So this condition is met, right? What second condition states is that a of j, which is this number, right, which is 1 here, a of j should be strictly less than a of I. And here in this case this condition is also met. 1 is strictly less than 5, right? Here a of j is 1 and a of I is 5, so 1 is strictly less than 5, so this condition is also being met here. And hence what we can say is that this friend I, which is at the position number 3, can give a chocolate or distribute a candy to the friend at position 5, which is our jth friend, right? Now let us think in a different manner. Can this friend which is at position 3, considering it as a ith friend, can give a chocolate to friend number 0, I mean friend who is sitting at 0 position with the number 8? No, right? Because here the first condition itself might fail. This condition itself might fail. And let us say that this number was, instead of 2, it was, let's say, 6, right? In that case, can the friend which is sitting at position I give the candy to the friend which is sitting at position 4, which is sitting at the position number 4, considering this as the jth friend? Can it give the candy to this one? No, right? Again, because here first condition is meeting. J here is 4 and I here is 3. This is correct. I mean, this condition is met. But here the second condition is failing. A of j, which is 6, is not less than a of is not strictly less than a of I. So 6 is not strictly less than 5. So this condition is not being met here. So I hope the problem statement is clear. So this is how the constraints are for distributing the candies, and we need to find the number of friends who will get at least one candy. Out of this n friends, right? So that is the problem statement. Now let us try to brainstorm around the solution part. So for the solution, what we can do is that we can apply a brute force algorithm. So in brute force algorithm, what we can do is simple. Since we have these two conditions, j should be greater than I, and second is a of j should be less than, okay, it was less than, yeah, a of j should be less than a of I. So what we can do is that we can start from the rightmost element here, and what we need to essentially check here is that, so we saw this thing, right, that whosoever is sitting towards the left here, for example, can distribute candies to all of the persons or all of the friends sitting towards the right, because for that person this condition is being met, so it can give candies to all of these people. So for example, this person can give candies to all of these people because all of them falls towards their right, so that should be fine. But to meet the second condition, what we want to see is that, for example, let's say this person, which is the last sitting person, if he or she wants to receive candy from any of his friend who is sitting before him or her, then what he needs to ensure is that his number, let's say x, his number should be at least less than any of them, right? His number should be less than at least any of them. So simple brute force algorithm would be to have double nested for loop, in which the first outer for loop will go from n minus 1, starting from this last person, to the first person, which is 0th person. And what inner loop will do is that it will check it will again go through all this previous friends. So it will go from n minus not n minus 2, but if considering this loop has the loop variable I, then it will go from I to 0, and what it will check is that is x, which is the number of the ith friend, is less than, strictly less than, right? This strictly less than any of the a of j, right? Not a of j, a of I. Okay, in our case it's because this loop is using j as the looping variable, it should be a of j here. So essentially the thing is simple. We need to find a friend who is towards the left of this this person, who is towards the left of this person, and is having a number which is less than, actually greater than x, right? Actually greater than x. So if that is if that condition is met, then this thing, we can say this thing is true, right? So he can take the candy from that person. And since the constraint is that constraint is that a person should get at least one candy, we don't care about the number of candies that a particular person get. It's okay as long as it gets just one candy, right? So that is what is the constraint here. Find the number of people who receive at least one candy. So I hope that brute force algorithm is clear. We just need to have a doubly nested for loop, and yeah, that's it. So doubly nested for loop, and we'll check if there is any greater number towards the left of that current friend that we are looking. And if there is the number which is greater than the current number of that current person, then we'll use a loop variable, not loop variable, a count variable, and we'll keep on incrementing the count. So if this condition is met, then we'll do count plus plus. So so far so good, right? So this is clear. Now what will be the time complexity of this algorithm? It should be order of n square, right? Because it's clear, right? This array is of size n. This array is of size n, and okay, this array is of size n, and there are two for loops that are going here. Iterating over. We are iterating over array using two nested for loops. So time complexity is order of n. Now, can we do better? The answer is yes. And again, we can use the prefix max technique here to optimize this algorithm further from order of n square to order of n. So let us see how we can do this. So if you saw here in the previous example, so here what we were essentially doing is that, for example, this person X sitting at the last position, he can receive candy from all the persons, all the person who are sitting left to it, provided that the number that particular person has is greater than the number of the number of this particular person who is sitting here, right? This one. So what we can do here, so the very simple concept is that we can use prefix max here, right? So let us see this. So let us say that this person X, right? Again, let us continue with our same. This person X sitting at the position n can receive a candy from any of the person who is sitting towards the left of it, provided that there is some number y here which is greater than x. So if y is greater than x, then we can this person sitting at position n can receive the candy from this person sitting here at, right? Let's say position 1, right? He can receive the candy from him. So this person can receive the candy. So what we need to ensure is that here in all the left elements, right, regardless of which person we are talking, it can be this one or this one. So if we are talking about this one, then all the persons who are sitting towards the left of it, we need to find the max element out of that, right? So essentially what we need to make sure is that we should have max of all the prefixes, and that is what is prefix max, right? So for this person, it should be max of this prefix, this entire prefix. For this person sitting over here, right, it should be max of all these numbers, right, and so on. So the idea is highly simple. We'll calculate the prefix max, right? So we'll use this prefix max array here. We'll populate it, right, as we saw in the early part of this video. We'll place the first value itself here, and then we'll keep on populating this prefix max as we saw using the example during the early part of this video, right? And once that this prefix max array is populated, what we'll do is that, for example, for this person n, right, for this person n, what we'll see is that is prefix max of n minus 1, right? Prefix for the person n, we'll see prefix max of n minus 1. And if prefix max of n minus 1 if this one is greater than x, then we know that in the all the leftmost, I mean all the persons who are sitting towards his left, there is someone who has the number greater than this number x, right? Because we have prefix max pre-computed, right? So that will ensure this part. And yeah, since the so this is the case condition 2, right? And condition 1 is already being met, right? Because we are looking at the persons who are sitting towards the left of him. So that will ensure this part that j should be greater than I. So this is j here right now, this is our j, and I will be someone who is sitting over here, right, towards the left part. So any of this could be I. Yeah, so hope this clarifies. So towards the end, we'll also look in, let us look into the code as well towards the end of this solution. So the code is very simple. What we'll do is that we'll use two arrays. One is ARR and second is prefix max, as I discussed, and then we'll have a loop in which we'll first take the input for the array ARR. So this ARR is nothing but the sitting arrangement of the people, right, those friends actually. And while taking the input also, we'll calculate the prefix max on fly while taking the input. And once this prefix max is calculated, what we'll do is that we'll initialize the sum variable as 0, and we'll go from right to left. We'll go from right to left, and for each person what we'll see is that if prefix max is greater than ARR of I, right? So this is very similar to what we talked here. Is prefix max of n minus 1 greater than prefix max of I? So here x is nothing but ARR of I, because we are going from right to left, right? We are iterating over the loop from left to right. So ARR of I is nothing but this thing, and prefix max of n minus 1 is nothing but prefix max of I minus 1. So prefix max of I minus 1 should be greater than ARR of I. So this condition should be met. So this is what is shown over here. So prefix max of actually this should be I minus 1. Yeah, prefix max of I minus 1 should be greater than the ARR of I. And if that's the case, we'll increment the sum, right? We'll increment the sum so that so this should be I minus 1 if I'm not wrong. And if prefix max of I minus 1 is greater than ARR of I, we'll increment the sum, which means that the current person, the ith person which is in interest here, like, will get candy from some of the person who is sitting left to it, right? Because there is a number which is greater than ARR of I, which is his number or her number. So we'll increment the sum, and at the end we'll print the sum. So that is how this code will work, and this will give the correct output. And yeah, the interesting thing to note here is that the time complexity for this program will be order of n, which is much better than the order of n square algorithm, which is the brute force algorithm. So I hope you like this video, and if you like it, then do like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.